Well, for more on the situation in the south, we'll cross now to our reporter, Rob Parsons, who is standing by for France 24 in Mykolaiv. Good morning, Rob. So what can you tell us about the situation where you are?
Well, as you heard just then, President Putin of Russia is turning winter into a weapon against the Ukrainian people by attacking the energy system in the country. It's making life absolutely miserable for people here. In Mykolaiv, where I am at the moment, the situation is in some respects marginally better than it has been. Electricity supply has been restored to some degree. There are still outages, but every day people do get electricity. In other respects, though, things are more difficult. The water supply is very poor. In most parts of the city, most districts of the city, there is no drinking water available. The water that comes through the taps is very salty, coming from the river estuary, part of which you can see behind me. The bombardment of the city has abated to some degree since the liberation of Kherson and the surrounding area, because it's pushed the Russians further back. It means their artillery can't strike so easily against the city. Two or 3 weeks ago, before the liberation of Kherson, Mykolaiv was being bombarded every day. Now that's not the case. It's much rarer now. So there's that at least, and people's houses are gradually being repaired. But it's the winter and the cold that is really concerning people here.
So, Rob, you mentioned Kherson there, and you'll be heading to that city later today. What have you been hearing about the situation there?
Yeah, well, I was talking last night with my colleagues from France 24 to a special forces officer who spends most of his time in Kherson trying to work against the Russification that was put in place by the Russian forces when they were in the city. They spent a lot of the time looking for collaborators. They arrested somebody who worked in the Kherson mayor's office just a few hours ago. The situation there is, again, considerably better than it was, but not great. It's worse than the situation here in Mykolaiv. Electricity is between 30 and 40% restored at the moment. And as you can imagine, it's very, very cold here at the moment. And for elderly people living in houses without electricity, no heating, that makes life pretty miserable. And on top of that, although the Russians have left, they're still well within artillery range, and they're constantly bombarding the city. It's a very dangerous place for people to be living in at the moment. So life remains pretty miserable there as well.
Rob Parsons, thank you very much for that reporting from Mykolaiv.